My name's Kalasia. Zach calls me Brain because I'm the brains of the relationship, and that's why there's two brains in it, because I'm the extra smart one.
This is the Colonel, because I'm always dodging these chickens. Should probably take these off. Just kidding. It's Zachery, third-time nominee of the Golden Globes. The first time we met, we had actually been dating for about a week at that point, just through text. I had no clue what she looked like. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know her name. But we had met in middle school, but I didn't know it was her.
We had been talking for a couple weeks prior to actually going on our first date. And at the time, my social media did not have my profile on it because I was in high school, but my parents didn't want me to have Facebook. So I had this, like, different picture of like a heart or whatever on my profile.
After a week of dating, she said, let's hang out. I was like, well, we're moving pretty quick here. But I gotta get the jitters out. And so we decided to meet.
I don't think that Zach connected the dots until literally we were going to go to the park after school for our first date. And he saw me, and we were walking out of the school, and I was like, are you ready to go? And he was like, oh, yeah. So I don't necessarily know if he knew who he was dating at first, honestly, or maybe he just didn't know what I looked like that much.
At that point, I finally found out who she was, and I realized that's the girl that's been giving me attitude for the past 2 years, even though she had no reason to hate me.
And I figured, well, maybe if, I continue to give him attitude, maybe one day he'll actually, pursue me more and want to talk and get to know me.
I think it's just because she secretly was in love with my Justin Bieber hair.
Yeah. My first impression was popular kid, kind of reminds me of Justin Bieber, and very silly. He always made me laugh whenever we'd have short encounters with one another.
She's different. She's different because although everybody in high school was so worried about how cool they were, she was always worried about her grades and achieving, I guess, college success even in freshman year in high school. So she really worried about everything, especially if she was going to get a cold in, I don't know, August.
I was first attracted to him because of his Justin Bieber looking hair, which is funny looking back at it because I am not a believer anymore. But also just the fact that he could make me laugh. He has a great personality. And I think that was just a really great combination for me to kind of be interested in him or want to get to know him better. Because again, I'm more of a serious person, so somebody who can just be goofy and carefree all the time and is very social. I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. That's definitely not me. I want to learn more about this person. So.
Unfortunately, I don't think I have an answer for this one due to me not even knowing what she looked like when I first started dating. But that might be, in my opinion, a great thing because what she looked like didn't matter to me. It was more of I wanted to date this person and move forward with this person just based off of us talking. And she was very understanding, and I like that about her. Who said I love you first? It was definitely me. She probably most likely, for one of our dates, she probably took me to a Chinese buffet. And after that, I mean, what else is love, really?
Zach said I love you first. When I was in high school, I was super into like the Twilight era of things. And so the idea of like, you don't want to be too eager. You gotta, let the guy kind of like make that first move and step in the relationship. So I definitely wanted to say it first, but Zachery definitely said it first. So. Mm-hmm. Oh, that is a really good question.
To me, I think love is both not being able to sleep at night, so you go to a 24 hours Denny's. That's probably my answer.
Intentionally choosing that person every single time and every single day, every single hour, even when things get really tough. I guess that's how I would define love, in an unconditional way, not in some type of superficial way. And it has to be very intentional, because it's not always easy to love a person every single minute, hour, day, etc. He didn't pay me to say this. I like his biceps, and his jawline is probably would be my favorite.
Physical attribute of Kalasia is her natural hair. She takes a lot of pride in it, and I like when she lets her natural hair out more.
I admire his generosity. A lot of times he has this hard front, which is interesting because he's very goofy, but he also puts on the like an I don't care type of front about a lot of things. But he's a very compassionate individual, very generous individual, and I admire that about him. Yeah, he's a very kind soul, even though he doesn't like to admit it. Very generous individual, would be there for anybody that's close with him, like 4 o'clock in the morning if they needed something. So I really admire that about him, and I think that it's a lost quality, especially in our generation today. Mm-hmm.
That she makes me a better person by her own ambitions. She inspires me to do so much more, just because I'm trying to keep up with her. She's always moving forward some way, whether it's, in a diagonal or straight forward, and it's a lot of catching up for me. But her ambitions is definitely something I admire about her.
I can't wait for us to be husband and wife, and to get to eventually start a family together, so that we don't have to make songs up about our cat anymore, but we can make songs up about our kids and sing them obnoxiously in the kitchen together.
Is seeing Kalasia in a mother role. Our cat is a handful enough, and she handles it like a boss. I feel like she'd be able to handle my offspring decently well. The thing that convinced me that she was the one was in high school. I was up for commander for my JROTC program, and I didn't end up getting it. I got co-commander, but Kalasia was not too happy with the instructor that we had, and she went in there and flipped that place upside down to vouch for me, and that probably was the time I knew she was a forever girl.
When weekend, Zach had asked me to hang out, and I was like, hey, I'm really sorry I can't. I'm going up to my grandma's. We're going to be doing gardening for the day. And he asked if he could come with to help out. And I was kind of expecting, I said yes, and I asked my parents, but I was kind of expecting him to, kind of not do anything and, stay in the car or be like, ugh, this sucks. And he just really stepped it up that day, and just anything my grandma needed, anything my dad needed, really getting his hands dirty in the garden, doing anything that needed to be done, and really being just a wonderful individual for the whole day. And it really kind of sold the deal for me with him, because family is important to me, and he just really, he stepped it up that day. There was no complaints. There was, no, oh, that was awful, I never want to do that again. And so I just kind of saw him begin to come into the man he is today in that moment. And yeah, I would say that was the moment that I realized, this this is somebody that I could grow with, and this is somebody who exhibits husband material. So yeah, I would say that was definitely a pivotal moment for me with him. And yeah, my grandma was a huge fan of Zach. She thought he was very handsome.
The proposal story. It's a long one, but my third time trying to propose to her, I figured where else but her favorite place in the world, Washington, D.C.
D.C. is my absolute favorite place in the whole entire world. I have a major soft spot for it. I'm very much so into politics. Anyone who knows me knows this. And when I first went to D.C. in 8th grade, I fell in love with it.
And there's nothing more beautiful than seeing our Capitol lit up at night. Lincoln Memorial just jumped out to me as the first place to go. And when we went there, I had the ring, and I had 2 friends with me. And we were walking up the memorial, 11 o'clock at night, thinking it's gonna be empty, and of course it's absolutely packed. I get nervous.
And I thought it had something to do with the crowds, because even though it was nighttime, there were still a decent amount of people up there. And I was like, oh, well, we could just wait for the crowd to leave or whatever. So eventually we go up there.
And I said, this is the time, I guess. I don't get a chance to back out now. I threw my phone at one of my friends. I was like, time now? We're doing it now? And I bent down on one knee.
And my entire soul leaves my body. Like, I was literally speechless. I probably like mentally blacked out, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually happening right now. And I said yes, of course. And even though it was dark out, everybody that was there, most people were drunk, not gonna lie, because if you're there that late, you're probably a little drunk. Everybody there cheered.
And a bunch of intoxicated women rushed us to take pictures with us. So here I am holding the ring, taking pictures with random people. Meanwhile, I can't even put the ring on my fiance's finger.
And yeah, it was perfect. It was beautifully planned, and I'm so glad I have a awesome proposal story to share, because a lot of people have proposal horror stories. So I'm really glad I don't get to join that club. He did a wonderful job, and the ring is gorgeous. So.
Kalasia, every single day is amazing with you. It really is. Every morning I wake up, it's a trip. Every time we go out, it's a trip. You're amazing, and I really can't think of a single other person that I could do this life with.
Zach, I'm extremely excited to be your wife and finally be getting married in December. I think you've grown into such an incredible man, and I feel so honored to have you be my husband, and to like lead our future family and just be an incredible life partner. And it's really, really cliche and everyone says it, but it is just so rare to get to marry your best friend, and I really feel that I am so lucky, and I can't wait. I love you very much, and yeah, very excited.
I'm thinking you were made for me. Isn't it my birthday yet? Cause I gotta say, you're looking like a gift for me. Wrapped up nice and neat, baby. Get in my way now, don't be shy. We'll be here dancing day and night. Get in my groove now, don't be shy. Cause I got this list of my favorite things. You could be the part where it all begins. You could be the first and the second and the third and the rest of it.